Jakob, what's going on, man? So, hey, I'm just going to read through this. Probably easier for me to articulate this. I think you gave the option to answer these through video, and we'll be coming up with something soon that might be of interest to you called the Knowledge Center, depending on what you've got going on when we release the 2.0 Success Finder version, web based. All right, these are my questions. What values are important to share for you, and how are you sharing them with your son? Try to keep this as short as possible. Honesty, integrity, making sure that you have been clear and concise so there's no way to misunderstand what you're talking about, who you're talking with, what you want to get across, and what you want the outcome to be. I really think there's too many times when we have those conversations, but we don't say, does this make sense? How does this pertain to you? I want to make sure that there's no way that you can misunderstand what we're discussing here. And, how do I share with my son? He is involved. He's almost going to he turns 7 here in a few weeks on the 13th of next month. He is involved in a lot of different aspects. We listen to Jim Rohn in the car on the way to school. We have conversations that are kid friendly, but adult appropriate is what I might say in there. And just preparing him for because he has an unfair advantage. I was having a conversation. This was with a family member. I said, our son has an unfair advantage, and it didn't add up to them, but he understands that he does have an unfair advantage. And so no matter what he chooses to do, he needs to understand that he has to come from how do you solve a problem? And so I want to make sure that he's clear, concise, and that he doesn't waver in how he treats people. So there's hopefully that answers values that are important. And how we share them with our son. How do you stay calm during situations with your son? Here's the reality. I'm human, and that doesn't always happen. It's the reality. Now, one of the things that I'm able to do is because I've surrounded myself with coaches and mentors and cornermen or corner people is by having the conversations before they happen to prepare myself between my human mindset and my champion's mindset. I'm able to sit there and slowly back into it. I have a conversation with an adult, and sometimes it can go the same way with a 6-year-old, which is pretty interesting at the end of the day. And so I try to sit there from a vocabulary standpoint, and I don't have this robust vocabulary. I believe my son, with where he is with his not only his emotional intelligence but also his intellectual intelligence, will have a much larger vocabulary than me, and that's what I want. But I believe if I bring it into terms that he understands, terms that he finds interesting, that he's able to conceptualize and actually bring it into his world so he and I can have a conversation. If I sit there and say, hey, what is the byproduct of solving a problem? He'll say money. I say, do you want to be helpful or do you want to be right? He'll say, I want to be helpful. So we create this language in order to be able to, as we're walking through those steps, to be able to have those difficult conversations. Let's see here. The best lesson that you can share in your own experience to raise a son. Have fun. Be a kid with them. 100%. In the last 7 years, I've been able to be more of a kid than ever. And that has crept into, and in a positive way, into my personal self and my companies. And so I really would sit there and say, be a child, have fun, see life through their eyes, because we don't take the kid out of the box. We grow them out of that. And I think that's unfortunate. So the sooner that we realize that we come from a child's like mentality, the world becomes fun. The world, the challenges, the possibilities just really, really change. So I would sit there and say, best lesson is to see it from a child's perspective. Can you recommend any resources, books, websites, or something else? I can't sit there and say that I have a specific resource that I go to. I talk to him at a level that I'm bringing what I'm working on and what I'm doing into his world, and sometimes using a similar vocabulary. So it's helping bring him along. And there's times when I just use what he's doing, what he's interested in, to have a conversation. We had a conversation Geez, I'm not going to go into this one, but it was, we were being comparative, and it had to do with, ants and the weight that and the weight that they could lift. But I used that because I thought he would find it fascinating versus what he was trying to compare something on. So I wasn't very direct in that one, but that's a conversation for another day. So yeah, I don't have the resources, the world around us, what we're doing and what they're doing. I think those sometimes are the best resources. Anytime someone's going to be a new parent, I believe I'm going to try to get my verbiage right on this one. I said, the best advice I can give you is figure it out as you go along. Don't listen to anyone else. Because now I'm not saying don't listen to doctors, but the reality is we're best when we figure it and we're hands-on and we figure it as we go along. So hopefully that was helpful. And you'll want to link them to the successfinder.com, as the new version that's coming, my friend, is it's going to be very robust but simplified in how we're able to connect to the coaches, the masterminds, and events that get the real impact. So hope all is well with you and your family. I think summer's almost over. It is. So have an amazing fall.